always ask if I can squeeze it, and they always say yes. And it's never as satisfying as I'd hope it would be.
A UFC fighter steps into the cage, muscles rippling, eyes locked in focus. But then you zoom in, and there it is, those ears, swollen, distorted. And you ask yourself, what happened? Here's the thing, it's not an accident. Fighters don't just end up with cauliflower ears, they earn them. And sometimes they wouldn't trade them for anything. So why do UFC fighters choose to keep those weird ears? Let's break it down. Cauliflower ear happens when the ear's cartilage gets damaged from repeated trauma. You're not talking about one big punch. This is from constant pressure, friction, and bending, like during wrestling, jiu-jitsu, or grappling. Every time the ear is smashed into the mat or someone's head crushes it in a clinch, the blood vessels inside burst. The result? A pocket of blood and fluid builds up.
Cauliflower ear, it's actually, what happens is the blood calcifies, and the blood actually literally becomes a rock.
Right.
If it's not drained, it hardens into scar tissue. That's your cauliflower ear. And here's the catch. It doesn't just happen to anyone. It happens to fighters who keep pushing even when it hurts. You're probably wondering, why don't they just fix it? Good question, but here's the truth. A lot of fighters want the ear. They embrace it. It's a badge of honor. Look at someone like Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Go sleep.
His ears are legendary in the fight world. But why? Because every time he steps on the mat, every time he goes to war in the cage, that ear is proof of his grind. Take Tony Ferguson. He's drained his own ear in hotel rooms. Randy Couture had ears that were almost unrecognizable from years of wrestling and fighting. These guys don't hide from their injuries. They wear them. Why? Because those ears tell a story of commitment, sacrifice, and the grueling reality of being a fighter. But let's not sugarcoat it. There's a real cost to cauliflower ear.
You're gonna have an ear like that, and that doesn't look good.
Some fighters suffer infections. Others have their ears so swollen they can't hear properly. In extreme cases, the ear might even need to be surgically removed.
Yeah, there's a video of this guy, he loses his cauliflower ears.
But most UFC fighters don't care about that. Take Dan Henderson. That guy was a legend with some of the worst cauliflower ears in the sport, but he didn't let that stop him. Every time he stepped in the octagon, that ear was a reminder of the sacrifices he made to get there. Cauliflower ear equals warrior's identity. Here's where things get interesting. In MMA, it's not just about fighting hard, it's about embracing the pain. UFC fighters are warriors. They're mentally tough and trained to endure suffering. In places like Dagestan, Brazil, or even in the wrestling gyms of the US, having cauliflower ear is often a rite of passage. You're not respected in those circles until your ear is swollen, scarred, and part of the fight.
But guys like it because it makes them feel like a fucking man.
You don't see this kind of mentality in many other sports. In football, basketball, or baseball, athletes hide their injuries. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Why does any of this matter? Because the fighters who endure the pain of cauliflower ear are the ones who show up again and again. Let's be real. Khabib, Ferguson, these guys didn't become legends because they were pretty. They became legends because they were willing to put in the hours, endure the grueling practices, and take the hits. Cauliflower ear is a reminder of that. What do you think? Would you wear the cauliflower ear if it meant becoming a UFC fighter? Drop your thoughts in the comments.